today's Weather and Ag in Focus is not necessarily coming to you from the Coral Laundromat studio. Instead, we're coming to you from the Alaris Center. We're in Grand Forks today, and we plan to have a great time talking all about the International Sugar Beet Institute and Dry Bean Expo. Dean's not here, but I get joined by one of our Cass County Farm Bureau interns. So I'm going to let Wendy introduce herself.
Well, thank you. My name is Wendy Jacobson. I'm from Noonan, North Dakota, up in the northwest corner by Canada and Montana. I'm currently a senior studying animal science at NDSU, and I come from a crop and also cow-calf operation back home where I plan to go after graduation. So a little bit about my family's operation. We do regenerative agricultural practices with our cropland, so that might include using a stripper header and taking just the seed off the field and leaving all the rest excess residue, yes, for biology for the soil. But also we do a lot of polywire fencing for cattle and moving them.
Okay, hold on. For those who might be listening and they're like, what's a polywire fencing?
Right.
Tell that.
So polywire is just like it breaks up a subdivision of a large pasture, and it can be portable or it can stay there for a while, but it's essentially an electric fence that can be moved whenever you want and shaped however you want it.
Okay, so when you're doing the polywire fencing, what you're trying to do is, instead of turning cattle out into a big wide open pasture area, you're doing more of small grazing to sort of keep them in paddocks, if you will, right? Smaller sections?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah, and our hopes with that is to help the biology in the soil, but also not have a bunch of compaction on the soil, and also just make sure we're not hitting the same areas too many times.
Well, and I think for you, in an area that tends to be a little more dry and arid,
Mm-hmm.
those are some pretty great practices. And because of that dry and arid and the no-till, you can have a lot of plant material on the soil surface. So this may be a terrible question to ask. How did you guys fare during the wildfires that happened in October of 24?
Right.
That's no problems at your place?
No, we were fortunate enough to be north of the wildfires, but we have some friends that got hit by it, and they had their stubble burned up, and it kind of hit them really hard, but also that might have been like a way for their soil to be resilient and also kind of go back.
Oh, a little bit, as you said earlier, it's regenerative.
Mm-hmm. In a sense, yeah.
Okay.
There's some practices that use fire and some that don't. Personally, we do not, but there are some people that do.
Okay.
And it's kind of nature's way of being selective.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great way to describe it for people.
Mm-hmm.
So today, I don't know if I talked Wendy as an intern into coming with me as my assistant ag director to Grand Forks, or if I conned her into it. But either way, it's working out pretty great. This is your first chance to spend time around sugar beets.
Correct, yes.
How's it going?
It is kind of similar to like a normal farm show. Everybody's very proud of what they do and what they bring to the table, but the scale here is a lot larger. Equipment is a lot bigger and maybe more focused towards one commodity instead of several.
Well, and there's a lot of things. We sent a video. Addison is happy to share that for those who are watching on our live stream, because we want people to see our view. So our view on our live stream today is brought to you by Lighthouse Commodities. Lighthouse Commodities, make sure that you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, and Acres TV. And as you watch the video on our live stream today, you're going to see equipment that you would see commonly in row crop fields. There's a Fendt combine in here. I see versatile tractors. But then also when you look at the specialized equipment for dry beans, there are some dry bean combines. We've also looked at sugar beet equipment. Any of those things stand out in particular to you?
Yeah, we got to talk to Dean Brown at
Alloway,
and he kind of explained how the picker works. It's picker, right?
Sugar beet lister.
There
we go.
Yes, and he kind of explained how it all works, how their technology is different and sets them apart from other producers.
One of the big things that he talked about with Alloway was the fact that when you look at their equipment, they plan for long-term in the market, because they are looking to not be something that gets outdated in a short amount of time. They want to make sure that you're using their equipment for an extended period, and that explains the fact they have been a short line equipment dealer for 80 years, or I shouldn't say dealer, manufacturer. They have really one of the only, we have the conveyor that goes in from the sugar beet lifter to the truck. They have the only one that's flexible, that will move up straight up to get out of the way so you don't have to rearrange trucks for it. They've got taller spokes that are on their wheels that pop the sugar beet out of the ground, and really they have that wheel that it's diamond edged, and you can use it not only on their machine but on others as well. So they've got a lot of things happening over there for Alloway. Now, in addition to that, there's some thank yous I'm going to give. One of them would be Marcia Van Leer with Gowan was just here, and she snapped some pictures for us. Thank you for doing that, Marcia. And those pictures are helpful because Wendy's presence with me today is sponsored by Cass County Farm Bureau. Cass County Farm Bureau has a commitment to agricultural education, communications, and students, the youth of the future. And they wanted to make sure that we have a great day here, and so big thank you to Cass County Farm Bureau. If you are out on the roads today and you're curious about giving us a road report, we'd like that. You can call us on the JLA Insurance phone line. That number is 701-293-9000. Thanks to Nate Thorsrud at JLA Insurance for making sure you can reach us. He is a farmer and he's a crop insurance agent. So he's going to be able to answer those questions that are up and coming right now with changes in insurance really easily. So you're going to want to give him a call. Now, also, not only can you watch us on the live stream, you can listen to us, and you can send us emails to our inboxes. Mine is ag@flagfamily.com. It is powered by Superior Grain Equipment. They bring you Superior Grain Equipment, drying and handling solutions. Today, we should probably give a little bit of an idea what the weather's like. You know, we drove up from Fargo, Grand Forks. How were conditions on the road for you this morning?
This morning they weren't great. You know, the wind is blowing that loose snow around, and it seems like it's going to be snowing a little bit this afternoon and into maybe the night. It's also going to get really frigid this weekend. So it's going to be below 30 to 55 below, so be safe out there.
Okay. There's no messing around when it's that temperature. For you as a cattle producer, how do things look? I mean, do you have a lot of pens where they can get in? Do you have your windbreak set up? Are you concerned about this kind of cold temperature for your herd out west?
You know, that's a great question. Since we do things a little different at my family's operation, we bale graze during the winter, so we're not having them in the yard or in pens very much. Granted, if they need or there's a big blizzard, we'll bring them in. But we have windbreaks set up for them, and then they're so smart, they'll go out and eat as much as they need for a big storm coming in. If they can tell it's going to get cold, they have that intuition, so they go and fill their bellies and then stay in the windbreak. So it's our job as stewards to make sure that they have that available.
Cattle are smart, and they have a pretty good hide and hair. It takes a lot for them to start getting cold, right?
Right. Yep. Unless they get wet, then it's like us. We get that bone-chilling cold.
You know, you and I were talking on the way up here. I often target March as a time where we have so much calving going on, where we're concerned with heavy wet snows and the fact that we could have freezing ears and tails off because of that cold weather. You guys have made some changes where you don't have to worry about that on your operation, and it's a little different than many are familiar with. So do you want to talk about that just a little bit?
Yeah, I'd love to. We actually calve in May and June, and this is just because the climate for us is a little too cold, and we've had some tragedies that have happened when we did calve earlier in the season, that it just makes sense for us to calve later. And also just we like to brand our cattle, so when everybody else is branding, we don't want to be branding also. So it kind of sets us apart, but also it works for us because we're also trying to get in the field and do our other jobs too.
Well, okay, that's going to help, right? Because you have a little less stress to worry about in the fact that you've got those critters sort of taking care of themselves at that time of year.
Exactly.
If folks are wondering why do many others calve in that March time frame, if you have a lot of row crop, you got to get in the field starting in April. So you want your calving done. Is it a little more stress? Yes. I think that's the answer, is a big yes.
Yeah.
Well, this is a great time to be looking at cattle. You know, we've talked about it. You have people here who've made mention of it. And as cattle producers, you know that these cycles change fast. So is this a good time for you to keep increasing your herd size, or you're just happy to keep getting calves and keep mamas happy?
I think it really depends on the person and their own operation. Right now, you could say it's a good time to buy in because in a year it'd probably be good too. So you can sell those calves in that market, or you can sell bred heifers or whatever you want to do. But also just being aware how it fluctuates so fast. But I think it'd be a good time to buy or lease or figure out a contract.
And there's some folks that they're ready to get out of the farm, out of the production, right? They don't. If you're older and you don't want to be dealing with cows anymore, what a great time to get out on a high. But how does that affect you as someone young who maybe wants to buy? Does it work? Does it math?
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of people that think that it could be really hard. And I think if you have a good relationship with maybe the neighbor that you're buying from or set up a contract, I think that would be helpful. But just being aware of how money works, I guess. I couldn't tell you if I think it would pencil out, but I think there's definitely always room for new producers to come into the field, but also just having that support system and that backing that if they need help, that is there for them.
There might be some bankers listening who want to give you a call later and talk about the opportunity. We'll give them a chance to do that. All right. We are going to take a moment to hear the livestock market update from the American Ag Network. And when we return, we want to talk about some of the things that we saw here. And we've got headlines to go through, and we'll continue to visit about the weather. Our weather reports are brought to you by Progressive Ag, our risk management specialists. So stick with us. We are not at the Coral Laundromat studio today, although my laundry's there, but we are at the International Sugar Beet Institute and Dry Bean Expo in Grand Forks. Thanks for joining us on Weather and Ag in Focus. Today is a great day. We're in Grand Forks at the Alaris Center. We are at the International Sugar Beet Institute and Dry Edible Bean Expo. And I'm joined by our Cass County Farm Bureau Assistant Ag Director, Wendy Jacobson. And it's early on for this, but we want to talk about a Vegas qualifier. And we want that person, when I say your name, to call us on the JLA Insurance phone line. That number is 701-293-9000. All right. The name I am looking for is Philip Doyle of Fargo. Philip Doyle, you have 11 minutes to call us. And Wendy, what's he going to get when he calls?
Okay, so you're going to log in to www.wdayradionow.com and click Valentine's Day in Vegas banner. Submit your name and enter.
That's how we got Philip's name.
Okay, so all qualifiers must be present at Kingpin's February 3rd for a chance to win. So I hope Philip did.
I hope so. Hope he makes it.
Yes. Qualifiers must be present to receive the finals at Kingpin's. Did that already?
Yep.
Okay. The winner will be selected on February 3rd at Kingpin's prior to 8 p.m. Rules are available at WDAYradionow.com website. The winner will receive a round-trip airfare for two from Fargo to Las Vegas, a 3-night stay in a hotel, 2 tickets to the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere on Valentine's Day, so February 14th at 2 p.m., and $500 of spending cash to spend in Vegas.
Okay. Have you ever gone to Vegas?
I have not.
I mean, as a college student, that's not a normal thing, is to just jet off to Vegas, right?
Yeah, but I really want to.
Yeah. Okay. Have you seen The Wizard of Oz?
I saw Wicked.
You saw Wicked. Okay. The Wizard of Oz would be like the show after Wicked, and it's interactive. So, like when the tornado takes off, your chair moves. If it rains, if it's windy, you get wet or the wind blows. It's pretty cool. And it's not just on a flat screen, it's on a big circular screen around you. So I'm intrigued myself. I hope maybe one of these days you decide you're going to go see it too.
Yeah, I think that's like a 4D experience where you feel it, see it, and everything's like right there. It's super cool.
Absolutely. So when Philip Doyle calls, that's Philip Doyle of Fargo, and he's got probably only 7 minutes or so. I'm putting the pressure to you, Philip. You're going to want to give us a call. So you do that. Addison's going to get your name and number, and then Addison's going to let us know that he, in fact, is now qualified to win that package and will be able to join us at Kingpin's coming up very soon. Again, that's going to be on February the 3rd. And we appreciate the sponsors for this project. That is All Sagar Meats, Kingpin's, and Frontier Airlines. Now, we mentioned here at the Sugar Beet Expo and Dry Bean Expo that we're sitting in a combine. So for those who are watching the live stream, you can't help but see the yellow behind us. So we're in a big New Holland. There's some things to know about this New Holland machine. It's a twin rotor. This is, I think this one is the CR10 because there's classes of combines, the 10. So this is not the biggest machine made by New Holland, but it's pretty good sized. We don't have a header on this one as I lean forward to look down. Nope, they didn't let us have that today. All right, fine. But all right, when you're home combining, how are the comforts in your combine versus this one? This is pretty nice.
Yeah, these are pretty nice. These seats must have been upgraded. Apparently, there's a cooler in these ones, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, this is pretty nice. I mean, the color is right for me. So.
Oh well, and I will tell you this: when you've got people might be like, why would there need to be a cooler? Look, if you're on a long road trip, you pack a lunch. Well, if you're in a combine for 12 hours a day, I think I'd pack a lunch too.
Yeah. Exactly.
Surprisingly enough, this one still has a steering wheel in it. Because if we go over to that fence over there, I don't think it does.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Being able to move them by joystick.
Yeah. And this one's got a really nice headrest for you, too.
Well, and grain tank extensions. Yep. This is a twin rotor. This machine, I think, as far as capacity is concerned, we're going to flip through its little book and look at what our combine capacity is. I know when you think about, like, unloading, the speed in which we can handle the unloading on these machines is incredible. And the thing that's important about that is you want to be able to move along fast. When the weather's right and it's a good day to combine, you want this thing to be buzzing along pretty quickly. So we want to be able to unload into the trucks and get those trucks out of the field. I mean, if you've got rain or snow coming down your neck, you don't want to have to deal with that. When I think about the the feeder house on these machines, they're built pretty heavy. They've got extra plates of steel because that makes sure that we don't have any wear parts in that particular area. Oh, you did find it. What is our unloading for this thing? What do we got for some stats there?
There's an impressive 10,000 bushels per hour, so that's pretty sick.
And the grain
high-speed drive, and then 567 bushel grain tank.
567 bushels is a lot of grain.
Yeah.
Corn, soybean, wheat, whatever you might be handling. So this is a machine that if you have to have a little wait time because you've got a long drive to the elevator, which you might out in Divide County, I bet your turnaround time to the elevator is a little longer than most, huh?
Well, I'm pretty fortunate. We're only like 10, 15 minutes from the elevator at our furthest field. But, yeah, I know some farmers drive probably an hour.
Just to round trip it, to dump a truck.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a little bit more tense to get things done. All right, so we're still waiting for Philip Doyle, I believe. I'm going to double check. Oh, no, we got him. We got Philip. He is qualified. So that's one more person. We're kind of on a roll on this show. We've been getting qualifiers pretty regularly, Addison. I feel good about this.
We've been on a good roll, and you know what? I think that's bragging rights for every other show we have.
That's exactly right. We're doing better than they are at the moment, and I'm okay with that. Speaking of things at the moment, we're about to adjourn for just a brief moment while we take in the bottom of the hour news. And when we return, well, there's some other things that we saw here at the show we want to talk about, headlines, and we'll see if we can't get an updated road report and weather report out to everybody listening. We'll be back.
Thanks for joining us here at the Alaris Center. Usually I'm in the Coral Laundromat studio, but today I have our Cass County Farm Bureau intern, Assistant Ag Director, Wendy Jacobson joining me, and we're in Grand Forks at the Alaris for the International Sugar Beet Institute and Dry Bean Expo. And we're happily in the cab of a CR10 twin rotor New Holland combine, complements of Park River equipment implement. We are thrilled that they are letting us borrow their machine for this hour. So, because we mentioned Cass County Farm Bureau, they have a contest coming up, and I want to make sure that we get to talk about that. So, what you got for us?
Okay, so NDFB is hosting a discussion meet, but they're also doing a practice discussion meet on January 23rd at 10 a.m. Central Time. And this is an online webinar on the Friday. And it's just kind of to practice to go over what might be happening on January 31st. So people are competing, but also it's a discussion, not a debate.
Okay.
So the topics for this year it's very broad, but farmland and digital engagement with policymakers. So
Okay.
you can kind of sit in on that.
Okay.
That's a discussion. Farm and ranch succession planning.
Sure.
Environmental stewardship and Farm Bureau member benefits. So this practice is to help people prepare for that discussion meet on January 31st.
Okay.
That's going to be hosted in the Astoria Hotel in Dickinson.
Oh yeah, I've seen the Astoria. It's right there
Yeah.
on the junction when you get off I-94, and then the highway that runs north to Killdeer. It's not 85. I'll have to think what the number of the highway is, but I know right where it's at.
Yes.
Okay.
So the winner of this discussion meet will receive a $4,000 cash prize, but they'll also earn the opportunity to represent North Dakota at a national level in Charleston.
So does this $4,000, and you could win this as a college student?
We could.
So,
but you're also competing against people 35 and under.
Okay.
Yes.
So you just got to fine tune your skills.
Exactly.
That's a lot of rent.
Tuition too, yeah.
$4,000. That's like 6 cows.
Yeah, I guess so.
If you think of it that way, right?
That's
Bred heifers.
The way we can start our herd.
That's how you can start your herd. That's absolutely true. So again, that is a free webinar, and that date was
February 3rd at 10 a.m. Central Time.
So we've got a little time for that.
Yes.
I like the webinar system for certain things. This would be good because you can listen, and if you feel like you missed anything, there's probably a recording, and you can go back and pick up what you missed.
Yes. And the way to kind of contact anybody for this or get signed up for it is to go to www.ndfb.org/events/discussion meet. And then the person to contact for this is Joey Bailey, and you can reach her at email at joey@ndfb.org.
And sometimes it's hard to get everybody's email address when you're driving or you're listening at work. And so I always make sure to remind everybody, they can email me too, ag@flagfamily.com. My inbox is powered by Superior Grain Equipment. And if you do that, I'll just drop those details to you in case you didn't quite catch them. So no one should ever be afraid about sending me a message for that. This is not the only time this month you're going to join us, right?
I don't think so.
Are you one of the students that's coming in to talk about Little Eye next week?
Might be.
Okay.
Yes.
Check your
yes,
calendar.
I need to check my calendar.
All right. In that instance, I know we're going to talk about it much more deeply next week when we have students on from NDSU, but just mention a little bit. What's Little Eye? Little International,
right?
And what's coming up?
Yeah. So our 100th Little Eye the 100th Little International is coming up on February 14th.
Okay.
This is where we get to show NDSU's livestock. We get to the barns are so gracious, they give us some animals and we get to show them and get them prepared, and then the show kind of you exhibit, and then we also get to honor this year's agriculturalist of the year, Jim Kirsch. So he's a great candidate for this. He was at NDSU for several years
as a professor.
Yes, and he was also a advisor for the club for about 30 some years.
Okay.
So
all right. These are long-standing traditions on campus. This Little International is put on by the Saddle and Sirloin Club. I believe it is still the largest student organization on campus.
Yes, and we are very proud of it.
And should be, right? Because we're certainly here to always talk about ag and Saddle and Sirloin. that's kind of where some of it starts for college students, right?
Absolutely. Our whole goal is to advocate for agriculture.
And you do it very, very well.
Yes,
So this is weather and ag. We know the weather is cold, windy, sort of a little drifty out there.
Yes.
But how about we do some trivia?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I highlighted our trivia question for today, and then we sent the answer to Addison. Addison, are you ready for this? If we do our trivia question, we're going to ask you to put people on air for us and help us out here. You might be the guy who just says, yes, you got it right, or no, you got it wrong. And then the winner is someone who can talk to us. Does that work for you?
Works for me.
All right. So Addison's going to be taking calls on the JLA insurance phone line, 701-293-9000. All right, Wendy.
Okay.
What's our question for trivia today?
Great. We are expecting about 7 to 10 days stretch of sub-zero morning lows this week into next. What is the longest stretch of sub-zero morning lows we are experienced last winter?
Okay, so last winter, what was the longest stretch of sub-zero lows? Now, if it's any helpful hint, we literally had like 30 inches of ice out on the lakes because it was so cold, and that stretch certainly helped. I mean, there's a lot of ice auger extensions getting used. But some folks are going to say, well, gosh, that seems like it's forever. I don't know. I remember being a little kid and having stretches like that. It's cold. I would say it wasn't exactly thrilling to have to go out and do chores in the cold weather.
Your eyelashes get all frozen. Yep. It's a great experience.
It's not a bad cold if it's not windy.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, so let's say that again. We are expecting a 7-day stretch of sub-zero morning lows this weekend to next. And then?
What is the longest stretch of sub-zero morning lows we have experienced last winter?
So some folks are diligently checking their calendars from last year to see if they can remember how long that was. Addison is taking our calls for us today. But meanwhile, there were some other things that we saw here at the show, Wendy. One of them was something you hadn't even noticed before.
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about Lasco's lightning weeder. What'd you learn?
That they electrocute weeds to kill them instead of using a herbicide or a pesticide.
Yes. So this is mounted on a tractor over here. If you can flip that around, people can see it up here on our live stream. There we go. That's okay. And so there is actually a power generation box on the back of the tractor. There is a toolbar that then has little, I don't know if I should call them lightning rods, but that come off the back of that machine, off the front of that machine, because you've got the bar in front. And as weeds stand up above the canopy, we are zapping those weeds.
Yeah.
Do you remember in part of the conversation they said which weeds are a little more easy to, which crop is a little more tolerant versus which crop gets zapped pretty easily? Soybeans are pretty tolerant, actually. Yes. They get a little bronzing on their leaves, little tan line. Well, not that we want that, but it happens. And in that respect, the crop that doesn't like the electricity, dry edible beans. And that's what we're here to look at today, is dry edible beans. Now, interestingly enough, because dry edible beans tend to use a lot of conventional herbicides, they don't have quite as many options for weed control as what some of the soybeans might be. And so in that respect, using this lightning weeder might be a good opportunity.
Yeah.
And you could buy it and share it around amongst several neighbors. It doesn't have to be just solely one piece of equipment for your farm. Maybe you could use it on multiple fields for multiple farms.
Yeah.
All right. So Addison tells me we still don't have a winner. Folks are guessing way too low for the answer. So let's give that question again if we could.
What is the longest stretch of sub-zero morning lows we've experienced last winter?
So last winter, a lot of days. Addison, can I say that it's like higher than 7? Addison's like, no, you can't do anything. He's very busy on the phones trying to take answers.
I've been very busy on the phones. But I feel
God
included now. Thank you.
Oh, we'd like to have you included. Okay. So the laser weeder. Oh, Lord. The laser weeder was just one of the things that we saw while we were here today. One of the other items was we happened to stop by the Corteva booth. Corteva is an agri-science company, not only with seed and chemistry, but they also want to introduce a new fungicide that's going to be coming out for the sugar beet market, Verpixo. This is powered by the active ingredient aldavelt, and this is going to be specifically for the sugar beet market. It is actually a new fungicide active ingredient. So if you look at the FRAC chart, that is the Fungicide Resistant Action Committee. They make this recommendation that this will be the first Group 21 picloanimide fungicide in the US. So that's a new mode of action, very important for resistance management against things like Cercospora leaf spot. Cercospora here in the Red River Valley, particularly last year, was tragic. If you didn't have your last spray of fungicide for Cercospora, we could tell that in the field just by driving by. Now, putting in this new Group 21 gives you an opportunity to have your first or second spray in your spray plan used by new mode of action. And I think that's a great place to put it because we want to break up potential resistance. So again, we're looking to see that receive EPA registration, hopefully yet this year. If in fact we got a federal registration, generally it takes about 6 weeks till we get a state registration. And if that were to happen, we might still be able to use if things go real quickly before we get to the growing season, but chances are we'd certainly see it active in the growing season for 2027. So again, that's a new fungicide that's brought to you by Corteva, and Verpixo is the brand name of that product. We're waiting for our winner on our weather trivia game. We're going to see if anybody gets it. So one more time before we take a little break, what's our question?
What is the longest stretch of sub-zero morning lows we've experienced last winter?
Okay, last winter. So everybody be paying attention. We want to know what it was.
It's more than 7.
More than 7. More than 7. So when we return, our Assistant Ag Director, brought to you by Cass County Farm Bureau, Wendy Jacobson and I, will be back. We've got a couple more headlines, and we'll touch on the weather when we return. Oh, welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus. So glad that you're joining us here. Hopefully, you're watching us on the live stream as we are enjoying the International Sugar Beet Institute and Dry Bean Expo in Grand Forks at the Alaris. Excuse me. I'm joined by our Cass County Farm Bureau Assistant Ag Director for the day. That is Wendy Jacobson. Wendy, we got a winner for Wednesday Weather Trivia. Our winner is going to receive a bait up, which is a personal bait bucket. It's the coolest little thing. And those are brought to us by Darter Plastics. So what was that question so we can ask for the correct answer?
Okay, the question was, what was the longest stretch of sub-zero morning lows that we experienced last summer?
Last winter.
Last winter. Yes, not summer. Oh, funny.
Okay, and we're going to ask, our winner is Tom. Tom, are you there? And what was your answer?
My answer was 14.
You got it. February 7th to the 20th. Do you know by chance what was the coldest temperature recorded in that time?
No, I don't remember. All I just remember is feeling it, and I'm sure. So I don't remember. 23 below?
Yes.
Yes, you were right. 23 below. Oh, so Tom, thank you. You get to pick up a bait up from the station when you have a chance to stop by.
I'll stop by this afternoon. I was just thinking that must have been, well, doesn't matter. Like I said, I felt it. Actually, I had a question for you. So
yeah, what's up?
I'm driving. So I'm driving. I didn't look up any of this stuff. Anyway, so the device that electrocutes the weeds, maybe that's not exactly the terminology. So
you're doing well.
How thick of a stalk will that electrocute through?
Okay, that is a great question. Okay, so I'm going to be able to answer this based on what I know, and if the folks over at Lasco tell me I got anything wrong, don't worry, I'll invite them on air to correct me. But from what I can see is when you think about your crop canopy, the weeds that are standing up generally you're going to see are a thinner stalk size, and you're also going to have a lot of tender, newer leaves. And because of the water content of the leaves, that's why that easily translocates the electricity through the plant to give it a good kill. Now, if you had taller plants, and if we think about Palmer amaranth that can have a tremendous stalk size, we're talking 2 to 3 inches. What could make a difference is if you see something like that ahead of you and ahead of the toolbar, if you were to slow down and make direct extended contact, I'm going to bet you're going to be able to kill that. It just might take you a little bit more time and a little more juice. But that is based on what I know agronomically, not from the company.
So this would be a great tool for organic farmers that don't want any pesticide. This is a great tool for that.
Yes.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yes. And believe it or not, the company in Lasco, they said they've been dealing with and building these implements for organic growers since 1980. So they actually have some pretty good history and background with it.
Oh, that's so exciting to hear. Well, thank you so much, Bridgette.
Hey, Tom, appreciate the call and congratulations on winning today.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Now, one of the things that we know that's been going on is there's a bit of stress in farming, but North Dakota has an upcoming webinar that might be of use.
Yeah, so North Dakota Farm Financial Stress webinar is happening. You can learn about strategies and get some advice. This is brought to you by ND Farm Management and the North Dakota Human Health Services. This is Thursday, February 5th at 1 to 2:30 p.m.
So a great webinar. It's open to producers and lenders, and it will help you spot some of those signs and financial stress and folks that are coming in your door of business. May give you some strategies to be able to help advise them. But again, it's a free webinar. That's Thursday, February 5th, and put on by North Dakota Farm Management and the Department of Health and Human Services. If you are looking for the registration for that, you can email me, ag@flagfamily.com, and I will make sure to put you in contact. Yet another great webinar to attend.
Yes.
The first one we talked about was Farm Bureau.
Yes.
That was for the discussion meet.
Yep.
And that's the same week as this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the
third.
The third for the discussion meet. Okay.
That's the practice webinar for the discussion meet that's happening at the end of the month.
Okay. So food and agriculture go together, right? Because that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And the new food pyramid has come out from the USDA and also our National Health and Human Services. So we've had a chance to look at this, and I noticed something right off the bat on the bottom of this sheet, and that is it's dated from 2025 to 2030.
I saw that too.
So do you think that in 4 years from now we're going to get a whole new set of dietary guidelines?
I don't know. They don't really change it a whole lot, so maybe if they did, it'd be interesting to see what it is.
So when you looked through this, Wendy, was anything really surprising, or did you just say, yeah, I got that, I figured that out?
You know, it's always like a great reminder, but nothing really like astronomical stood out. But you know, coming from a cattle background, but also crops, I mean, always eat beef or eat pork or chicken or whatever, and then support dairy too.
I tell you what, the increase, they pretty much flipped the chart, and so that increase on protein is tremendous, and it really never leaves. I mean, you're an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
Protein was probably a huge part of your high school diet, not just the fact you were raising beef.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when all three of my older brothers were home and my parents too as well, we'd go through 6 gallons of milk a week. So it was insane. So my mom often joke about how she would have to get a milk cow
to supplement.
Yes, but yeah, I mean, it helps with bone growth so much that we couldn't not drink it. So.
And for you guys, I mean, when you have young athletes in the house, just the ability to keep them full, but also that muscle build and so forth is vitally important.
Yeah.
And I appreciate what you said. I mean, I love to talk about beef because why wouldn't I? I'm from a beef operation too. But the emphasis on all of the proteins, the pork, the chicken, you know, frankly, as far as I'm concerned, fish is just fine.
Yeah.
But you're going to just need to know that you need more of it because of that denseness. I recently read an article that actually one of the most protein dense red meats that we could have is lamb.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever heard that?
I did not know that, but that's interesting.
Are you a fan of lamb?
You know, I actually am. I used to have my own sheep flock, but I'm not a huge fan of it. But I have grown my palate. I spent the summer in Maryland, and we had a flock of sheep, so we'd often have lamb chops, and those were really good.
They're excellent, and they are really easy to cook. They're the cutest little thing.
Yeah.
So
need a few to get full, but yeah.
Well, exactly, and that brings you to portion size. That was another recommendation from USDA was paying attention to your portion size. Look, when there are things that I like, I eat a lot of it. Perhaps I could pay better attention to that.
Right.
And you also made mention of whole fruits and vegetables. That was also another great takeaway.
Yes.
Wendy, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. She braved the weather out there, which is a little blustery, but drive slow if you're concerned. Dress warm. It's cold out. And then stay tuned for the Jay Thomas Show. He's up next.